is recorded. Stills and excerpts from the video will be used for club PR and social media purposes. We can make exceptions, so please, I believe it's David that does the recording. Please let David know that you may not want your video shown, or he can edit you out. That's the case. Online presenters, the function of the club is for learning skills to perform better webinars and online events. We are currently using Ring Central, which uses Zoom behind the scenes. Remind everybody you can use your headset or earbuds, mute yourself when you're not speaking. You can also mute and unmute your video on and off if you're going to think you're going to do something distracting, such as sneeze or yawn, or you have to get up from your chair to do something. There's a button in the upper right-hand corner that controls the screen between gallery view and speaker view, which you can see toggling in the bottom right-hand corner of the slide. Please watch for who the timer is. Keeping track of the timer's video. Also consider, if you need it, you can ask for an audible cue. And I also recommend you using your own timer device in addition to watching for the timer. If you know anybody might want to join, we have a guest tonight, and if anybody knows anybody else want to join, you can go to our website and click on the join button, and you will fill out some information. Our typical requirement is you have to have completed 6 Toastmasters speeches, but we do make exceptions for people that have prior speaking experience. And in that case, we ask you to make a 1 to 2 minute speech about why you want to join the club. Now it's showtime, and I believe our Toastmaster is Nick. Is that correct?
Nope.
Or who's the Toastmaster tonight?
It is me, and it's Carol Prahinsky.
Ah,
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Welcome, Laura. And Jacinta just joined us.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome, Jacinta and Laura. Nick, would you like to rotate positions? How about our counter? Oh, no, Esel's here. Esel's here.
No problem. I will
Nick, you can sit back and relax. You're all set.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Happy to do that. Thank you.
All
Hi,
right.
Jacinta.
It looks like everybody's here. Let's go ahead and get started. Today is Mardi Gras. Today's word of the day is, well, I'll let the grammarian introduce the word of the day. But as we think about the excitement and fun of partying it up, all right, I'm going to call it partying it up because I went to St. Croix, and they had the most incredible carnival. And I wondered, how do we take this beautiful event and carry it over into other communities around the world, especially the cold ones? They need something warm and nice and cozy. And anyway, let's get started. We have a full slate today. I'd like to introduce our helpers. Esel is our counter. Esel, tell us what you're going to be doing today.
Hello, everyone. My job is to note any overused and filler words, sounds used as a character, and by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Wonderful. Thank you, Esel. Yay. Our timer tonight is Jacinta. Jacinta, you ready to show off your stuff? What do you got going on over there?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My role tonight is the timer. So for our prepared speeches, I will be holding up a green card at 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
At 6 minutes, I will be holding up a yellow card. And then at red, it'll be red card. You have 30 seconds to wrap up from that time. For table topics, I'll be showing the green at 1 minute, yellow at 1 minute and 30 seconds, and the red at 2 minutes. And for our evaluators this evening, the green will be at 2 minutes, yellow will be at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, the red will be at 3 minutes, and that's when you should wrap things up. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jacinta. Yay! I did start the record button. I just realized it hadn't been started at the start, so it is now going on. So if you want your pretty mug showing it off, well, it will be captured for you. And we have our next helper, which is our grammarian, Peggy. Peggy, what are you doing today? Welcome, Peggy.
Good evening. I'll be making note of anybody who speaks well with the English language and maybe any oopses or ums, also, well, not the ums, but the incorrect use of the English language. And the word of the day is maniacal. That's characterized by excessive enthusiasm or excitement. As an example, a maniacal grin on his face. Maniacal. So hopefully everybody uses it a lot.
Is it?
Thank you.
Is it pronounced differently? Is it? I want to say maniacal. Maniacal. All right.
Maniacal.
Maniacal.
Right.
Maniacal.
So.
Okay. All right.
Is
Thank
it
you.
maniacal?
Yeah. Yeah, Peggy,
Thank you.
and they're wondering if you could post it as well on our chat.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much. Maniacal. Okay, I can see it's already getting out of hand. All right, our next helper is Joy. Joy's our watcher. And so we want to know who's eating what for dinner tonight. So Joy, can you help us out with that?
Hello, everybody. My task today is to focus on the visual elements of this meeting, and then in the end of the meeting report what I have seen.
Wonderful, thank you. Woohoo! Yay, Joy! And our vote counter, all the way from Miscounted, Florida. Please tell us what you have going on tonight, Mr. Vote Counter Jim Barber.
Good evening, everyone. Madam Toastmaster, as the vote counter this evening, my primary responsibility is, listen carefully, this is tough, count the votes. I will be counting the votes, and at the end of the meeting, I will be reporting the votes. Our motto is vote early, vote often, Madam Toastmaster.
Well, thank you, Mr. Barber. Our chat monitor is Mr. Pudgy. John, quick, what happened to your... Are you okay? Welcome, John.
Toastmaster. As Graham said in the chat, I am a giant among Toastmasters. Look at my chin.
I know, pretty sexy.
I'm going to be watching the chat and reporting back at the end of the day.
All right, well, thank you. I always love your chat lines, what you capture during the day. Our first speaker, we're very excited about this. We have 3 speakers tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the introductions of our first speaker. And let's see, we have Magda, and she is going to be giving a speech called The Goodie Bag, and she's focusing on effective visual aids. At times, we are stuck for words, especially when doing table topics. David? You're muted. All right. All right. So, however, it is possible to prime oneself for impromptu speaking. Magda is going to share some of her wacky ideas on the topic. Fasten your seatbelts. Grab a hold of your favorite beverage. Please join me in welcoming Magda. Woohoo! Yay!
Madam Toastmaster, I just received this goodie bag and I'm supposed to speak. And this is in the goodie bag: a brush and a candle. And I'm standing there and my brain is working and I'm thinking and I'm saying, I had to find a way to help myself because I hate standing there and my tongue is swelling in my mouth, and for me not to have anything to say is simply not me. So maybe with all these ideas, there's something that you can pick up on. And for that, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to ask the timer to give me some auditory cues as well. Table topics, love it or hate it, you can learn to love it. I've read a book that changed my life forever, The Kama Sutra of Public Speaking. Wow, what a title. And of course, it's all about getting your audience involved. So I've decided if I have a choice between the two audiences, the top ones that are dozing off and the bottom ones that are so enthralled, I'd rather have the bottom bits. And with this presentation, my only message is to have fun. I've discovered if I lump things together, I can do a rather impressive impromptu speech. For instance, if you lump together how linen is made or cotton is made, you've been showed something like whatever, and it's part of a manufacturing process, it's very easy. You can wax it all together. For instance, this is an example. Say I had in my goodie bag a bottle. I can start off with, I was walking on the beach and I was taking a handful sand, and this little sand, a bit of sand was talking to me. It was saying, help me, please help me, please help me. And when I tuned into it, I discovered this horrible story. This poor bits of sand is going to go into this process. They're going to be heated up. They're going to be stuffed with all kinds of things once they're a bottle. And where do they end up? And now I'm putting a twist to it. I would say, and maybe not a bottle, but maybe a candle, a container for a candle. And I'm ending up in Kensington Palace. And guess what's happening in the bathroom? Or I can say, I don't know if I skipped something. Now I took it out. Or I can be showed all kinds of toys. I can say, I can weave a story, if it's a jack-in-a-box, about that time in my life when I got some news that were totally wacko and that I did not expect at all. One time when I got news like that is when the doctor called to say to me, you're pregnant. And I said to him, no, you said it's positive. And I said, what do you mean it's positive? Positive, negative, or negative, positive, or negative, negative? And he said to me, you're so pregnant, we don't have to retest you at all. That was like a jack-in-the-box moment for me. Or imagine, tell a story. It's nighttime, it's 2 a.m., and you want a little bite out of the fridge, and you step on a Lego block. Well, I'm not going to use the words that I usually use, but you can imagine. Oh, I'm getting this little slinky, and I'm telling people, oh, I'm so tired on a Monday morning. I go to work like this. I'm slinking from moment to moment. Something else that I discovered that is making really good twist on things is to pair the impossible. Like a strawberry with a kiwi fruit in, or you expect this little kitten not to really piggy bank the chick. All of these things are out of the ordinary, and it can make for a really good table topic. Don't be stuck with just what happened in the past. Use past, present, and future. All the things that you can imagine. It boggles the mind. And then, of course, you can jump from country to country. You guys in America are not rugby players, but these are the rugby playing countries. And you can make a good story out of this. You can also tell people how much beer they drink in the different countries. It can be a fun thing. And then, of course, the different viewpoints. I'm telling the story. I'm the narrator, but I can also tell a story about you. And then the all-seeing eye. I told you a week ago about what's going on in my mind, a monologue. I rather enjoyed that. Who can say that my thinking is wrong? Or imagine you telling the story, I've got this allergy and it's your allergy that's talking. Oh, sweet heavens, that could be a lot of fun. If you're telling your story or your table topic, remember to add emotions into that. That is a rather easy thing to do.
Yellow.
Something else that I like is to switch things around. The old auntie that's doing wild things and the little kid that's doing things that you won't expect. Use different voices. You can talk slowly and intimately, like Edinburgh. I saw Roger Fong in the bushes and he was chasing a lion. Or I can be wild and excited because I'm reporting my style is like that of someone doing sport, or that of a professor. Or I can embrace you and tell you that I'm going to give you facts of life and you really need to concentrate, like a lawyer doing a final close. What about the different stages of life? Now you speak like a little child, and then like an obstinate teenager. I won't, I shan't, I'm not going to do this. What's the opposite of practice? We can practice this. You can get a mate and practice it. Of course, you're going to feel like a fool at first. But didn't you feel like that when you start riding your bicycle? Or when you started Toastmasters? I say to myself, I can and I will. End of the story. I'm going to master this. Whatever you do it with gusto and have fun. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Magda. Wonderful. For our second speaker tonight, we are going to get Manikal with the customer profiles on Facebook. Wouldn't you like to have a perfect one? And why you need to learn how to use this, especially if you're business owners, is because it will change your livelihood. So we want to pay very close attention to Dagmara in her speech tonight, which is to have the perfect customer profile. Please join me in welcoming Dagmara. Dagmara. Woo, Dagmara. Dagmara, you're muted.
How many of you here have your own business? Have you ever used perfect customer profiles that you created through Facebook Audience Insights? I don't see many hands. So today I want to tell you about why this is so extremely important to create perfect customer profiles with your Facebook Audience Insights. First off, you will be able to communicate powerfully with your audiences because you will know a lot about them. You will know how to use the accurate word that express their feelings or maybe pain points. And then, therefore, you will be able to sell more products because you will be sending this perfectly crafted message to the right people at the right time, at the right place. It will also expand your reach because you'll discover people that you will never thought of before that could be your perfect customers. Because Facebook is opening the gates to a different reality backed by data. And this is so different from the reality of biases, opinions, and gut feelings. So how to create a perfect customer profiles? This is what you need to start with your research with. Location, age and gender, status, which is, are they married, are they single? Goals they want to achieve with your product. Values they are committed to. Pain points, which is how your product can solve their problem. objections, which means what is this possible one thing that can take them away from buying your product? And sources, so important. What influencers, website, fan pages are they following? So now, as you can see, there is a huge question mark. We don't know who is behind this question mark, and we want to know our perfect customer, right? So let's imagine that you have organic skincare products and you want to know your perfect customers. You need to go to Facebook Audience Insights and put any prior data that you already know. You can add location, age, gender, interests, and Facebook will start populating this dashboard with data on your perfect customers. And the beauty of that is that you don't have to have a lot of data. A little bit of data goes a long way. If you don't know the demographics, put the interests, which are the fan pages, influencers, website, and Facebook will tell you about the demographics that matching the best these keywords. If you don't know the interests, just put demographics here, and Facebook will tell you the rest of the story. So once you are done with your quick research, suddenly this mysterious person becomes someone familiar. It's Molly from the United Kingdom. She is a female between 25 and 34 years old. She's engaged, so she doesn't have kids yet, but she will be using your organic product for herself, and she will be buying them for her fiancé. She will be using them to grow her community because she's a beauty blogger. And what she values in your product is novelty. She wants new product every month because she needs to feed with these articles her community. But there is one problem with Molly. She is very price sensitive. So you might better treat her with a nice discount coupon once in a while so that she will stay as your loyal customer. And her deal breaker is lack of info. So make sure that you put all the ingredients of the product that you're selling on your website. She's on Instagram. She's following Joanna Gaines, Bart's Bees, Tabletics, Worldwide Fund, and PETA because she's a vegan. So fellow Toastmasters, that's only the start. Apart from Molly, there is Michelle, 47, from the USA. She's a very dynamic businesswoman, and she won't hesitate to use her golden credit card to buy the most high-end product from your collection. She has also 3 teenage sons, so she will be using your organic deodorants for them. And there is Lynn, 67, from Australia. She's a retired teacher, and she has 7 grandkids. So she will be using your organic product for her grandkids because they have very sensitive skin. So fellow Toastmasters, these are just 3 customer profiles that you can quickly create with Facebook Audience Insights. And the beauty of this dashboard is that there are more Mollys, and you will discover more Michelle and more Lynn in different geolocation with a little bit different goals and different pain points. And you will be taking them and changing their configuration, and you will be testing your hypothesis by creating ads in Facebook Manager. So that's just the start of the story, or the beautiful story backed by data from Facebook. Please go to Facebook Audience Insights and get to know your customers. And remember, you can have data without information, but you cannot have information without data. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Wonderful. Yay, Tamara. Oh, I can't believe everything that you can do. It just amazes me. I'm like, how do we do that? All right, let's move on. Our third speaker of the day is going to share something perhaps a little bit sensitive to us because we are very close and near and dear to Ring Central. David Carr is giving a speech tonight called Adjusting Our Dues and Moving to Zoom. ... When David first led Online Presenters, and we chartered it in 2017, he was the consultant at that time for Ring Central, which is a business, internet, communication, and collaboration company. That was how we ended up with Ring Central as our online meeting platform, and we've loved it. But here's the setup. All right, they've allowed us to use it for free, but today he says it's time to make a change to Zoom, even though Ring Central is based on Zoom. He also says it's the time to adjust our dues going forward to allow our club to purchase its own Zoom account. Please join me in welcoming David Carr as he explains why it's the right choice for our business.
Dagmara, can you stop sharing?
Asil, can you say it again, please?
Dagmara is still
can you
sharing
stop
her screen.
sharing your screen?
Oh, stop share, Dagmar. All right, let me do it. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Asil. I missed that. Yeah.
All right. So yes, I am here today to talk about why it's time to say goodbye to our friend Ring Central Meetings. And it's nice of Carol to say that we've loved it. We've loved it for the most part. But lately it's gotten a little bit annoying, and it's actually not really the product. I have to explain a little bit about the history of how we wound up on Ring Central Meetings. And I do want to take a moment to say thank you to Ring Central one more time and to give you a little bit more of an understanding of what exactly this product is. So people tend to notice that it is a lot like Zoom. So if you've been to other online clubs, Zoom has actually become pretty much the standard platform in the Toastmasters world. And Zoom and Ring Central have a business partnership, a technology partnership, where Ring Central repackages that software and they make it available, integrated with some of their other products. And what you're seeing on the screen is a collaboration project. I'd written a book about how social media was influencing business collaboration technologies. And they hired me on to write about that and kind of evangelize for their product. And actually, when I first saw, this is a product called Glip, made by Ring Central, actually purchased by Ring Central. The first time I saw Glip and the way it had integrated online meetings, I was very impressed because the other company that I was working with was also trying to do the same thing, but it was much more awkward. They would kind of generate a link, you would see it on your screen, you have to click that link and launch a separate thing. And here, what we have is, this is a team conversation of a business group. Looks like nobody's touched this in a while. But if I were to click this video camera here, it would launch us into a Ring Central meeting session, and everybody in that group would get an invitation to join. So this is something that I thought was interesting, the way spontaneous video was actually becoming a bigger part of business. And it was one of the reasons I argued that we need Toastmasters to get experience in the online environment. We need everybody getting experience in the online environment. My current company has just recently started using Microsoft Teams, which is actually a very similar environment. It's taking over a lot of the functions of Skype. And we do launch into meetings through online meetings through the Microsoft Teams platform as well. Actually, they're usually kind of awful in terms of the audio feedback problems because they haven't had practice that we've all had in dealing with those issues and ironing them out. So I'm not going to click on the camera icon, but you'll notice there's also a conference call icon. And if I go into an individual one-on-one session with Joe Henderson, I can also click the phone call, and it will start calling right from within this environment, because the main thing that RingCentral was originally in the business of was offering internet phone systems. So this is becoming the launch pad for all their products. And probably the main reason for purchasing RingCentral meetings instead of Zoom is because you want to use online meetings in combination with all these other products. So I do want to give a plug for them one more time, that may actually be a worthwhile thing for your business to do. So, look at the pricing, look at whether it makes sense for you. But the question is, does it make sense for our club? And part of the reason I could go ahead and call Joe Henderson without worrying that he would pick up is that Joe Henderson does not exist. One of the things I did for them as a consultant is I created a whole bunch of fake personas. So Joe's supposed to be the CEO of the company, and we would put together fake conversations that I could take screenshots of and blog about. At one point, I changed them all to Star Wars characters, and I did a blog on how one of the last Star Wars movies would work if they were coordinating everything through team messaging. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Part of the way that I got this set up is I asked them to be a sponsor. And the mid-level manager I was talking to actually didn't have the authority to make it official, but she said, why don't you take one of these test accounts and make that your account and use it for your meetings? And so we did that, and away we went. But it turns out that because it's a test account, we can't access some of the settings. And some new things that have come along that would be useful to us I'm not actually able to get at the controls. And I'm afraid to ask for tech support because I think they'll just shut us down. So Joy, for example, was having trouble getting into our online meeting session. And there's a feature where you can come into an online meeting using just your web browser without any software download. And that would have been useful to offer to her, but I couldn't turn the thing on. So it's come time to get RingCentral out of the picture, and we're going to purchase our own Zoom account. We're in the process of doing that. In order to do that, we need to fund a little bit more of a budget. So we need, it's about $150 a year. And the thing that I'm asking this group for approval on is to raise our dues from, it's about $46.65. So we've been charging just enough to cover what we have to pay Toastmasters International plus the transaction fees, and raise that to $52 per 6 months. So that's my proposal. I'll be asking you to vote in just a moment, so that we can be self-sufficient, so that we can have access to all the features when they become available from Zoom without waiting for RingCentral to also add them. And so we can call tech support when we have a problem, which from time to time we do. So that is my proposal to you. Now, we're in the middle of renewing dues, and a bunch of you have already paid. I'm not proposing to go back to people and ask them for more money if they've already paid. I thought maybe we would give folks to the end of the week. So if you'd like to renew at the current level, renew by the end of the week. We'll start collecting more dues from new members coming in. And I'm asking for your approval. So this is the point to ask for questions or any discussion. Any questions?
I would like to add something to discussion. This is Lois. I think it's really important that we have control of our destiny. And as much as I thank David and RingCentral for being there for us, I agree. I don't think we should be on an operating system that were not valid. We have enough members to support this. And I thank you, David, for bringing it to our attention.
Okay. And the truth is, I've been halfway expecting that we would get here some Monday and find out that they turned the account off, and then we'd have to scramble. But
point of order, David, please go ahead and make a motion before any discussion.
Okay. I would like to make a motion that we raise our dues to $52 per 6 months, starting on say Wednesday. So if you want to renew tonight or tomorrow, go ahead and do so at the lower rate. And starting on Wednesday, we will increase that fee.
Second the motion.
We have a second.
I heard
Andy
a second.
Burns second.
Andy second. Now discussions, questions, comments.
You're just going to get a professional.
Yes, it's the pro account. It's $150 a year. It's equivalent to what we have now. 100 up to 100 participants at a time.
I think that sounds great. Thanks, David. That's a good idea.
Graham?
We use Pro and it's working really well.
Can I ask what our current fees are? So I'm just trying to work out what the increase is going to be.
Right now, you're paying, or our dues are $46.65 for 6 months. So this is raising it a little bit more than $5 to $52.
You want to stop sharing there so we can see?
Oh, I am so sorry.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
If you have questions, comment, please raise your hand. Lou.
David, thank you for sharing all the information and for your proposal. I am not opposed to it, but I did hear you mention at one point something like additional features for us to take advantage of. What are some of those features that, because it seems like we have everything we need now. I was just curious what
the additional features would be if we wanted to have it integrated with our business phone system. You know, we don't have a business phone system for our club. The additional features are valuable to businesses, but all we need really is one paid account that can be the host, and the password will be shared amongst the officers, and we'll operate pretty much as we do now.
Follow-up question, does that mean we need the professional level? Or is there like, and not that I'm opposed to that either, I was just curious if there was like...
Zoom offers a free account, but I think you can only, your meetings can only last 40 minutes or something like that.
40 minutes, I'm pretty sure 40 minutes.
So it wouldn't work for an hour meeting. So
they only offer one account, a pro account. It's like
there are several levels above that, but this is the sweet spot for us.
Got it.
It's really all we need, I think.
Yeah.
Lou.
Let me clarify, just in case, reading into what Lou have asked, not necessarily what he asked specifically. We as a club needs one account. Individual members does not need any account or pay. You can have a free account or not. So that is the background. I see a hand on Nick, please, quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. I think that some of us or some people have had difficulty with using RingCentral for backgrounds. So I think that the Zoom facilities and the functionality would be really helpful. And I will make sure I get my green screen. Thank you. It's been a very good ride with RingCentral, and I'm thankful for what David and everybody's done. And I think that it's a really sounds like a good time now to go with Zoom. Thank you.
Well, it was great at the beginning when we didn't even know where the club was going to fly, right? So, all right. Well, can we show
Do we
hands?
hear any?
I guess. Is that good enough? For
No
this?
more. No more question.
No more discussion.
Discussions. Questions and discussions have been closed. Now I call for the vote. Those in favor of switching over to Zoom with the increase of approximately $5+ for every 6 months to our membership fee, please raise your hand. Those opposed, please raise your hand now. The yes have it, motion carried.
Thank you, everyone.
Back to you, David.
We'll get it organized. So that does mean that the link will change. We'll send out the new link.
Oh, sorry. Can I just ask very one quick question? Because some people have paid less, some people are going to pay more. Is the increase with the number of people paying after Wednesday, is that going to cover the cost? Or do we have a fund or some sort of rainy day money?
Well, I'll tell you, the way we handle money in this club is a little bit funky because we were not able to establish our own bank account because of something about the way Toastmasters International hands out tax IDs. So it's been run through my company, collects the money and pays it on, and I'm basically fronting the money and trusting that we can make it up over 6 months, 8 months. And I've done the numbers. I'm confident that we'll get enough new members over the next few months to make it balance out.
Okay, thank you.
And I think eventually we'll accumulate a little bit more, which we can either adjust the dues at that time, or maybe we'll want to spend it on a Facebook ad that Dagmar is going to help us place. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right.
David.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
All right, Madam Toastmaster.
Carol, we can't hear you. Are you having problems still?
Yes, I'm having problems. My battery died, and then I'm trying to. It's not working well. But I don't believe we have time for table topics. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
Carol,
you're
go ahead and mute yourself. I'm going to take over at this moment. Let us go ahead and jump over to our evaluation portion of our meeting. First up to evaluate our first speaker. Our first speaker
Roger, I
was
think we have an Roger, I think we have a general evaluator.
That's
Oh,
okay.
I believe so.
Go
I
ahead.
apologize.
Go ahead, Roger. You can get us going quick. So go ahead.
First, foremost, the first evaluation on Magda's speech is Lois, please.
Thank you, but before I go in, we're a little off kilter. It looks like everybody was qualifying for a vote. Please send your votes to Jim Barber. Okay. My fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests, and most especially Magda, the goodie bag. This was an interesting speech. It was effective use of visual aids. I mean, those pictures were crystal clear. They were bright. They gave you ideas of how to do things. And of course, it helps with Magda's sense of humor when she's talking about priming us for table topics and Kama Sutra of public speaking. And I enjoyed a lot of this. I really liked the ideas that she presented. Past, present, future, different viewpoints. She had a lot of good ideas of how you could encapsulate the overall table topics. What could you do if you were stuck? I love the fact she talked about being tongue-tied and not me, and we all kind of smirked at that because we know Magda, and that was just cute. Some of the things that I would like Magda to look at is, number one, if you're going to use a mouse, make the mouse pointer bigger, because I thought it was my mouse and I'm moving my mouse around to get it out of there. I didn't realize it was yours. So if you're going to use that as part of your presentation, make it bigger so we know it's yours and not a speck of dust on our screen. I wasn't overly fond of the 3 toys because I thought it distracted from your overall message, which was, here are some great ideas that you can lean on, adding your emotions, pairing the impossibles. Those were concrete ideas that we could garner. The other couple of things, Magda is this magnificent speaker, and I am one of her mentors. I tell you, I have to sometimes go back and watch Magda's speech 2 and 3 times to come up with anything to give her on tips. But here's my overall tips for this. I would have liked a little bit stronger opening. I received this goodie bag with a maniacal laugh, she said. Forget that swelling tongue. It's time to use my imagination. And a little more forceful on that. But the big thing I think you can change is the ending, because I think it could have been an inspirational ending. With, as I look at my goodie bag sitting here next to me, I smile and realize this goodie bag is the opening to an entire world. I am reminded to let my imagination go. Whatever you do, do it with gusto and have fun. That kind of an ending would have pretty much wrapped it up because you had this title, The Goodie Bag, and then you never came back to it. So either we change the title of the goodie bag or we use it somehow to wrap it up in the mix. But overall, Magda, I love your sense of humor. I think you do a great job, and I appreciate all that you bring to this particular club, and I can't wait to hear your next speech. Mr. General Evaluator.
Therese, please continue as the general evaluator.
Doesn't matter. Okay, our second evaluator today now is Tracy. Tracy will be evaluating Dagmara's speech on Facebook. Tracy?
Fellow Toastmasters, and especially Dagmara, I thought you did a wonderful job today. Fantastic. Although I'm not such an avid, maniacal Facebook user, I am a little bit more of a LinkedIn girl myself. However, I really enjoyed your presentation. You opened really strong. You asked us some questions to draw us in and engage us. You told us what you were going to tell us and why. I thought that was awesome. You went into the flow about knowing your customers, explaining how to sell to your customers, and how to expand your reach. You told us about the demographics and that you can use demographics or you can talk about interests and that Facebook will somehow let us know the demographics of the client. I didn't really understand that part 100% where we would just put in the interests and then Facebook algorithm or what have you would tell us the rest. So I think that could have used a little bit of clarity. More importantly, however, I did notice that you used 3 examples of women, which I could relate to any and probably all of them. However, we do have gentlemen in the audience and we don't want to forget about them. I was thinking that perhaps you could show one less female, maybe speak about a male, put a picture of a male on the screen. The other thing that I was thinking about was that perhaps you could show one less demographic and maybe perhaps show a case study about the effectiveness. When you do A, then B happens. And sometimes you may have to tweak B to make Z happen, or however you formulate that. Overall, I thought you did a fantastic job. I really appreciated learning because even though I feel like I do know a certain amount on Facebook, there were things that I didn't know. I definitely enjoyed your presentation. I learned a lot and I thought it was great. Thank you.
Thank you, Dagmara. Our next evaluator will be Graham, and he will be evaluating David's wonderful speech on why we should move to Zoom. Graham?
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and particularly thank you, David. David didn't give me a particular project to evaluate this on, so I've decided that I'm going to use the advanced manual Speaking to Inform and the first speech from that, which is the speech to inform. There are 5 things with any informational speech, which is what I think this one was. There are 5 things that the speaker is asked to consider. Is this issue relevant to the audience? Is this issue relatable by the audience? Is this issue involving the audience? Is it organized? And is it interesting in terms of the presentation? Well, it's certainly relevant to us all because it's talking about the future of the club and the future of our dollars. It's relatable. We could all understand what it is that we were talking about. Is it involving? Well, in the final analysis, yes, because we discussed it before we voted. Is it organized? This is my area of concern, which I'll talk to David about in a moment. But is it interesting? Yes. Well, I was interested. As I say, it's my money. I'm always interested in such things. The area of concern that I would have with this presentation by David is the organization. There was an awful lot of really good information about the background to why we were using Ring Central as opposed to going with Zoom. The advantages of Ring Central and its link with Glip. He outlined the reasons that we need to change, and I recognised that David wanted to thank RingCentral for allowing us to use their software free and gratis for a couple of years, and that's a good thing. But it took us an awfully long time before we got to the point where David said, now we need to change. I've talked about then, now let's look at, we'd already hit the yellow light by that stage. And so David didn't have a chance during his presentation to give us the information that would have been useful for us when we were making a decision. There were too many tangents, and because of that, the motion that David put, I'm not sure was quite legal. Amongst other things, it didn't actually put anything specific. It said, yes, we should change to Zoom, maybe Wednesday, which is sort of 2.5 days or a day and a half, or we need a specific date, and we needed to know what the actual dollar amounts were going to be. That wasn't included in David's motion. So I'm not sure about the legality of the motion, but we passed it anyway, so that's all that really counts. We were able to reach a decision, though, and that for me was the highlight of this presentation. David gave us the information that we needed to make a decision, and we as a club were able to make that decision effectively. So, was it relevant? Yes. Was it relatable? Yes. Did it involve us? Yes. Was it organised? Yeah, not so much, but it was definitely interesting. It certainly met the objectives of the speech that I have decided this was, which is the 226B, speaking to inform, the speech to inform. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. And Jacinta, can you tell us, were all the evaluators within time?
Yes, all the general evaluators do qualify, and I will be posting it into the chat momentarily.
Great. If everybody could send their vote for evaluator to Mr. Jim Barber from Florida. So watch your count, because he's from Florida. So let's go right quick down our reports, because we are keeping Roger happy with our time. Miss Counter Asil, can you give us your report?
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. I maniacally tried to note all clutch today, so I'm happy to quote Mantis today one time. And Dagmara, you are improved a lot. 5 us. David, 17 us. Nick, you did once. Therese, once. Evaluation portion, please. No. Tracy, no. Graham, 1. That's it. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Asil. And Jacinta, did you put all the times for the speakers and the grammarian in the chat box?
Yes, I placed the times for the prepared speeches and the evaluators. I've also placed them on our Toastmasters application for those individuals as well. Back to you, Madam Junior Evaluator.
Our grammarian, Peggy, can you give us your grammarian report, please?
Sure. For the use of maniacal, I heard the word used 4 times. And as far as the grammar portion, I heard a couple words that were very expressive, and that was organic and dynamic. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Peggy Toastmaster. And our watcher is Joy. Joy, can you give us your watching report?
Yes, as to backgrounds, I think most people have very pleasant backgrounds. And maybe this is something personal, but I like very much one-colored backgrounds because they somehow bring the person better forward. There are a couple of people who have some kind of background that makes them look a bit sick, and one of them is Jacinta. there's something bright on the background that will make your face look darker so that I cannot see your facial expressions. So maybe you could have a standing lamp that directs on your face so that it would be easier to see. And Jason also has something that, at least on my screen, makes it look your face unclear. Then about the lighting, Peggy has a very strong green color that makes you look very pale. Somehow there is too much contrast between the background and your face. And I think also that it would be favorable for David to have some other color on the background than that pale one you have today. As to Louis, yeah, your face looks also very pale with that background you have now. Then there were 2 PowerPoint presentations. I loved them both. I mean, very colorful, and especially the last one, Dagmara's. It's great with a dark background and white text or light text. It's very pleasant to read. And as to body language, I think there was enough of it, very pleasant to look at. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joy. Our chat monitor was John Quick, who somehow lost a lot of weight in the last couple of minutes. Could you give us your report, Mr. John Quick?
Sure, Madam General Evaluator, I will post the summary in the chat. And it's shorter today, but there was definitely some entertaining conversation going on during the meeting. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you. And last but not least is our vote counter. Mr. Jim Barber from Florida, were you able to come up with a count, or do we have to do the Florida thing?
Never would we do the Florida thing. This was an honest election. The election was as fair as could be purchased. Our winners this evening are Best Speaker, Dagmara, and our Best Evaluator, Graham.
Thank you. Now it is time to turn the meeting over, I believe, to the president, Mr. Jim Dent, to close the meeting out.
Okay, thank you, Therese. I want to thank everybody for showing up today. We had some great speeches. First, I'd like to hear from, is Antoinette still here? Yeah, there she is. What did you think of our meeting this evening? Or today? You're muted. Unmute yourself.
Yes, I thought it was very interesting, different from my Tobago professional speakers. At least I think that if I get to join this club, it will expand my speaking abilities some more. And I'm really anxious to possibly join. I'm not sure.
Great. Well, you're definitely invited to join, and I'm sure somebody's going to contact you.
Yes. I just want to ask a question, though.
Sure.
In terms of how do you change your background on Ring Central? You have
to change the background?
Yeah, instead of like I'm in a room in my bedroom now. So I just want to know like how to change the background.
Well, it's best to have like a green sheet hanging up. So all you see is the green sheet behind you. Then there's some controls in the video controls that you can change the background.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll explore it when I'm through. Yeah, when the meeting is over. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to remind everybody our speech contest is coming up March 35th. Or March 25th, not 35th.
Oh, no.
We already have a lot of speakers, but there's a few other roles that still need to be filled. We still need a timer and we need a ballot counters. And if we don't have enough judges, Carol is our chief judge. She'll probably be reaching out if we still need more judges.
If you're interested in judging, let me know. I'd love to have some helpers. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So other than that, make sure you go to the website, sign up for roles. We can usually sign up several weeks in advance. Speaker slots fill up fast.
Jimmy, we do have a few more guests, but I don't know if you want to close the meeting.
Oh, okay. Yes. Let's grab the other guest.
Let's see. Laura. We have Laura, Carlos, and we did have Rainey, but I don't see him on the call right now. So Laura and Carlos.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Laura.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi. What did you think of the meeting tonight?
It's wonderful. The signal is not quite good here. So that's why I stopped the video. So in this case, I can hear you guys more clearly. Everyone is making a great presentation here. It can give me quite a lot of pressure. So I need to work harder.
Okay, well, definitely you're invited to come back again. And then the other guest is Carlos. What did you think of our meeting this evening?
Let me unmute here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you guys are shaking. I'm interested. Let me start off with apologizing for coming in kind of late, but what I saw and what I heard is very good, very structured. That's the piece that I'd like to understand a little more. The public speaking also is key for me. This is why I'm, looking for some groups to join. I'm going to try to have my wife join next Monday, and we'll try to be on time. But I'm interested. I'm from Florida, so it's very funny, the voting piece. I gotta agree. I'll leave it at that. I won't talk politics or religion, but it was good. Thank you for asking my feedback.
And Jim, Rainey cannot chat right now, but she said she enjoyed the meeting.
Okay, great.
Jimmy.
Roger.
Just a couple more things before we close up. Number one, we have Rolando as our Toastmasters next week. A few more spots, roles that he needs help with. Please go ahead and log in. Number two, watch out for an email confirmation of the new link. Until you see it, we will not move until you see the new link.
Mm-hmm.
Back to you, Mr. President.
Okay, great. Yeah, we do have several roles that need to be filled for next week. So we got 2 evaluators roles, a general evaluator, and some functionaries, several functionaries. So please sign up so we have everything filled by the time the meeting starts.
And with 1 minute to go, I just want the guests to know that I will be contacting you tomorrow. Thank you, Jimmy.
Okay, great. Anybody else have any announcements? Okay, if that's all, I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. It was a great meeting, great guests, and everybody. Jim, did you have something?
No, just thanks.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Good seeing everyone.
All right. Welcome back.
Good night, everybody.
Everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
And not an announcement per se, but just a bit of a brag. I am, unless there are any other candidates, I am the endorsed candidate for division director in my home district of 69. So,
bravo!
Yay! Congratulations.
Good job, Graham.
Excellent.
See you later.
Came up.
Hey, Graham,
I'm going to go and get lunch.
sponsor,
Bye, everyone. See you next week.
Bye.
All right.
So, I'd like to ask David to go ahead and stop the recording. And if there's anyone else